Okay, so let's start. Yeah, Deepa, would you like to read the opening aspiration?
With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So today we have to come here. Yes. So verse 8, just I think we are on the last page of its commentary. And after we finish this particular commentary by Jetsunma, I thought we can also read, and I can just quickly go over one of the other commentaries which Jetsunma has also recommended. So that we'll read about this verse, we will read that commentary quickly today. So this much we had already taken, that we are living in a world of our projections, and these instruments that we have, they whatever distorted views they give us, they 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 are what we believe in usually, and that's where all the suffering starts to create itself. So then today we have to read the last page. So if anyone would like to read it, one can take first paragraph and maybe the second and maybe the third. I don't know where to stop, so you can decide where to stop. Anyone who wants to read.
Actually, if one reads certain sutras, it seems as if for everything we do, there is a hell realm. One time I went to we did that last time also. I remember reading this, where he says that it's just to frighten people. But I don't know if he went through it, but I do
Yeah,
remember
you can just
reading this.
read through it, read
Yeah.
the whole page then.
Take it. I'll just restart. So actually, if one reads certain sutras, it seems as if for everything we do, there is a hell realm. One time I went to my Lama, Kamtrul Rinpoche, and said, well, it is impossible. For everything there is a hell realm. Rinpoche just laughed and replied, oh well, he just tried like that to frighten people into being good. He said that it is actually difficult to get into the hell realms because they depend on a mind state that delights in cruelty and in hurting others. There are people who take pleasure in evil and the suffering of others, who enjoy inflicting pain. They are far from their original Buddha nature. When they die, they project all the darkness and cruelty inside their minds, which return back to them. Then they react angrily and fearfully, creating more hallucinations in an endless cycle. This is why it is so difficult to get beyond those states. One is trapped in endless paranoia, anger, and fear. Now, the average person is not like that. Most people are basically good hearted. We have our good qualities and our failings. However, when we die, we are likely to encounter circumstances that correspond to our usual way of thinking while we were alive. It is important to be careful what we think about and how we respond to situations now when we have some choice, because this is what we could meet with and experience in the afterlife. We don't want to create more problems for ourselves selves in the future, so we should be careful of our actions right now while we have a choice. We can decide to avoid doing anything non-virtuous, even at the cost of our life. Non-virtuous basically means that which harms others. Just don't harm anybody with our body, speech, or mind. It makes sense and has unforeseen and profound benefits. Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche puts it as follows: the more careful you are in whatever you do, the easier it is to realize emptiness. The more profound your view, the clearer your understanding will be of the relationship between cause and effect.
Thank you. We see this with the mother, attention to details, that since the profounder the view one has, one sees that nothing is trivial. Each aspect of creation is divine in its heart, and nothing is trivial. So many a times, in our lives, how we ordinarily live is that there are few things which are important that we give our attention to, and then there are other things which are very trivial, we don't give attention to, do it half-heartedly, or just for the sake of it. So it's very interesting to see that with mother we have a very we can see it very clearly that she actually used to give attention to details. So yes. So, this author and master, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, he has also a commentary. It's called The Heart of Compassion. I had shared it earlier, and it is recommended by Jetsunma herself. That's why she's quoting him also here. So we will just go through to wind up verse 8 of his commentary. I'll maybe this is a test and examination, not examination, test for our concentration of mind, because I don't have it scanned, so I'll be just reading it out and grasp whatever you can. I don't know, so to each his own. Whatever is beneficial for us, I hope we'll get. It's not a very long one, that's why I thought I'll just read it out. So yeah, so just making the mind a little concentrated and praying that we receive whatever this has to give us. So once you have taken refuge in the three jewels, it is important to behave in accordance with their teachings. Whatever happens, keep trying to do more and more positive, beneficial actions, and avoid always doing anything negative. Actively engage in the 10 virtues and abstain from the 10 non-virtues. This means not only to abstain from killing, for example, but also to protect life, to ransom the lives of animals about to be butchered, to set captive fish free, and so on. There are 4 black dharmas to avoid and 4 white dharmas to keep to. The 4 black dharmas are: 1. To deceive those worthy of respect. Number 2, to cause sadness by bringing doubt in someone's mind about the value of his virtuous actions. Number 3, to criticize and denigrate holy beings. Number 4, to be dishonest about your faults and qualities and to cheat others. So these are 4 black dharmas, like you have to avoid this at any cost. We don't do that. And then there are positive. So one is de-addiction and then one is rehabilitation. So these are the things not to be done, and then 4 white dharmas which are to be done. The 4 white dharmas are not to tell a lie even at the risk of your life. Number 2, to respect and praise the bodhisattvas. Number 3, to be free of deceit and benevolent towards all beings. And number 4, lead all the beings on the path to enlightenment. And then he says, confess every negative action you commit, even in a dream. Do not be confused about how to act in everyday situations. Try to keep your actions in accordance with the instructions given by your teachers. It is said that Lord Atisha never let a day go by without confessing whatever negative actions he may have committed. Once confessed, a negative action is relatively easy to purify. So this mother also says that before sleeping you review your life, and that's how the psychic being grows, because we immediately we recognize, oh, where I should have done better, where I should not have maybe said something or done something. So we have similarities here. Someone who has done many negative actions, even if rich and powerful, will inevitably sink into the lower realms of samsara. Someone who has done many positive actions, even the humblest of beggars, will be led by all the Buddhas from the bardo to the western Buddha field of bliss, or to be reborn in the higher realms. As it is said, and then there is a verse that he quotes, good and evil actions bring their results without fail. What happens at death accords with what you have done. If your actions have been wholesome and virtuous, there will be happiness and birth in higher realms. If your actions have been unwholesome and negative, there will be suffering and birth in lower realms. Right now, while you can choose to be happy or to suffer, do not indulge yourself in negative actions, but strive as best as you can to do good and virtuous deeds, both great and small. There is no such thing as even a single act that vanishes. This is also very important. We were talking the other day how it's like wet cement, and any impression falls, it leaves a trace. So he talks about that. There is no such thing as even a single act that vanishes, leaving nothing behind. The imprint created by a negative action, such as killing, will never disappear until you either experience its inevitable result or counteract it with a positive antidote. While, on the other hand, even offering a single flower to the 3 jewels or reciting a single mantra brings inconceivable merit. So too, on the other hand, even the most seemingly insignificant negative action has a negative result and should thus be purified straight away. I think the easiest and quickest result of a negative thought or a negative feeling that we can see is how it disturbs our being. So, it makes us uneasy. It gives us, something not okay. It disturbs our being. So that's the immediate cause and effect, that the moment you think something which is suffocating, it suffocates your being. And then he continues that all the teachings of the Buddha say that every action has a result. This is the infallible law of karmic cause and result. Some people hold the opinion that actions bring no karmic result, even for a murderer who has killed thousands of people. The hell's realm cannot exist, they would argue, because no one has ever returned from there to tell us about it. They dismiss the infallibility of the cause and effect of actions as just an invention and deny that there can be any such thing as past and future lives. But they are simply wrong. For the moment, surely instead of believing in your own limited perceptions, why not rely on Buddha's wisdom? The Buddha sees the past, present, and future lives of all beings. You can have confidence in the Buddha's words. For example, the Buddhas have praised the benefits of reciting a single mantra. But if you nevertheless feel doubt about those benefits or think that the results will take eons to appear, you are only making your own realization that much more distant. Doubt and hesitation are the main obstacles to achieving the common and supreme accomplishments. If you doubt the teacher, you will not be able to receive his blessings. If you doubt the teachings, no matter how much time you spend studying and meditating, your efforts will remain most sterile. So we have to see that this is coming from, this is an older commentary. And with Jetsunma, we have a contemporary commentary, and she doesn't uses all these words, and it has a purpose because it depends on to whom we are talking, who is the audience. So she's talking mostly to layman practitioners like us, we are not Buddhists. So that's why she uses a language which we can understand, and we don't get lost in the language. So just a little bit more. He says, as the great master Padmasambhava said, although my view is higher than the sky, my attention to actions and their effects is finer than flour, atta. So that's what we were reading, that if we have larger and larger and profounder view that we are realizing and gaining in ourselves, each and every aspect of material life begins to matter. There is nothing which is trivial and secondary and oh, we can ignore that, half-hearted attempt, nothing like that. And this also we see in the aspect of Mahasaraswati. So in the book The Mother, we see that Mahasaraswati is the aspect where attention and perfection in each and every detail. And it is very difficult to stabilize that aspect of mother in us, because we have our own ideas and likes and preferences. So किसी चीज को हम ज्यादा importance देते हैं, किसी चीज को हम कम importance देते हैं. So as long as that continues, attention to each detail will not come, because that will be secondary. या इसको तो हटा दो, So there Mahasaraswati is not very happy when we do that. Mother says, yeah. So then he says, when your realization of emptiness becomes as vast as the sky, you will gain an even greater conviction about the law of cause and effect, and you will see just how important your conduct really is. Relative truth functions inexorably within absolute truth. A thorough realization of the empty nature of all phenomena has never led anyone to think that positive actions do not bring happiness or that negative actions do not bring suffering. All phenomena appear from within emptiness as a result of coming together of illusory causes and conditions. The infinite display of phenomena can arise only because everything is empty in nature. As Nagarjuna said, only by things being empty can things be possible at all. How we can see it in our practical day-to-day life is, look at your room wherever you are. There are things in the room because there is space, empty space in the room. So just like that, there is emptiness in the background, the consciousness which appears empty. That is what is giving potential to all kinds of thoughts and feelings to emerge. क्योंकि canvas empty है, तभी मैं draw कर सकती हूँ. And that's why he says that emptiness is the true nature of all things, like thoughts and feelings. Like it's like a bubble, you pinch it and it's empty. And that is why when we see their true nature of thoughts and feelings, we stop to take our own thoughts and feelings that seriously, because we see that it's empty in nature. It's अंदर कुछ नहीं है, अंदर बिल्कुल खाली है, जो इतना बड़ा दिखा रहा है अपने आप को. So that's what, only by things being empty can things be possible at all. He says, although rainbow appears in the sky, they do not make any difference to the sky. It is simply that the sky makes the appearance of rainbows possible. Very interesting. And rainbows can be likened to thoughts and feelings. And it is because we have consciousness in the background which can give rise to thoughts and feelings. That's why we have thoughts and feelings, and their true nature is consciousness itself, if we go to the root of it. And then just concluding, he says that your view can and should be as high as possible, But at the same time, your behavior should be as grounded as possible in the awareness of cause and effect. So this is, this is the crux for us, because अगर हम किसी स्पिरिचुअल पाथ पे चल रहे हैं तो हम उसके लिए जो अभी है उसको हम नेग्लेक्ट नहीं कर सकते. And that's what Sri Aurobindo also says, that all life is yoga. Each movement of life has to turn to the divine. So I cannot ignore, even if I'm taking a walk, I'm meeting a friend, I'm watching a movie, washing utensils, going market to departmental store, anything. These are the things where relative truth is functional. So my conduct, my behavior is very, very important. And that is why we see that masters, true masters, if we see that their behavior towards general humanity and general sentient beings and day to day, it's very sensitive. They're not very like, oh no, this is not important, that is important. And we have a beautiful example with mother, how beautifully she used to give attention to each and every detail. And that's why in the the ashram is built up in that way. So many departments came up when she was there. And somebody was telling me the other day that it's amazing how mother's presence made an effect, that after mother was like dropped her physical robe or the body, there is no new department that has come up in the ashram after mother is gone. Why not? This we have to see, because that there was vision, there were dynamism, the active force was there. And after mother there is not a single department. In fact, ये हो सकता है that departments may slowly begin to dissolve, but no new department has come up. So this tells something about our ordinary consciousness, that as long as we remain what we are, it's just, we may read thousands of books and scriptures and nothing, it's nothing in our behavior and action. Yeah, so I think with this and maybe more last comments or reflection, we conclude verse 8, and today we can take maybe beginning of verse 9. Any comments? Anyone?
Just on how you commented how mother used to be so particular about attention to detail. I remember I was in Pondicherry. We went to a restaurant with my father and my auntie, and we ordered. And I'm a little bit clumsy, and sometimes things will drop and all of that. And I remember, and my dad picks up on that, so he'll always say, "Look, you did this. Look," and it really annoys. It still does, but that time as well, it was very hot and we had a very this day. And then, we ordered something. I remember we ordered dosa or something, and the chutney was there. He put it, and, I wanted to pick the glass and it fell, and it made a mess. And my dad said, and there were people just beside. He said, "How many times I've told you to be careful? Why can't you be careful?" And I got so upset. I remember, so upset. And I told him, "Why do you have to tell me this?" And I remember. And then my auntie was there. And she said, she kept quiet for some time. We started reading, and when she saw my mood was okay again, she told me, mother always told us that you should not keep anything, near the table. So even when, things were working, she would even paint, like something important will be discussed about Auroville or, about Golkund or something like that. And suddenly she'll say, "Look, that thing is there on the edge. It shouldn't be there." And, she pinpointed all the time, because, I remember, like, see, she was telling me somebody told them. And, of course, 2-3 times they'll do, but again they'll forget. Again they'll keep. And then again she'll print out. So she said, that was the attention of detail of the mother. And she always did. She made sure to point it out so that we can improve. And I remember that comment. And now, if anything is like, of course, I still forget, but that thing has really helped me. How she said it, some people have an art of saying that makes you not react, but you reflect. That's also an art of telling. And I remember now, if, something is pointed out, I really see it as a mother, I always see the mother is trying to correct me. Mother is telling me that, "My child, you are clumsy, better perfect yourself." So just on that note, that even that thing that, remote is there on the edge, don't put anything on the edge like that. So that much also attention. So that was a very good example.
Yeah, yeah. And here also, in ashram, Delhi ashram also, I see that to a very great extent, many people take care of this, that attention to detail, and to that extent that people many a times donate a lot of, say, kabad. And actually they say that we are kabadi walas, they take all the kabad. And then what they do is that वो होते हैं ना शादी के कार्ड, उसमें एक छोटे छोटे गणेश जी होते हैं या कुछ होता है, चिपका होता है. So what we usually do is, most of us, not all of us, but we want to just get rid of kabad from our home, so we would just put it wherever, either in the raddi or wherever. But they try to actually make use of each and every part that can be used. So I felt and how much energy it requires कि अच्छा ये कहाँ पे use कर सकते हैं, अच्छा ये कहाँ पे use कर सकते हैं. So yeah, if our mind begins to become less and less scattered in the here and there things, then we can actually pay attention to these things. Yeah. So I thought maybe I'll take this opportunity, since we were talking about Mahasaraswati. So I thought I'll take this opportunity to read about the Mahasaraswati aspect from this little, I hope we all know, little book, Mother. Little but enough for a lifetime and more to come. So he says Mahasaraswati is the mother's power of work and her spirit of perfection and order. The youngest of the four. Now why would mother say youngest? Because उसके पहले क्या होता है, उसके पहले एक ग्राउंड क्रिएट करना है ना. अब अगर हमको खेती करनी है, बीज बोना है, तो उसके पहले लैंड तो तैयार होना चाहिए ना, टिलिंग होनी चाहिए उसके, है ना, मतलब सफाई होनी चाहिए. So the खाद शाद or whatever should be there. So the land is prepared by the other aspects of the mother, which is Maheshwari, Mahakali, and Mahalakshmi. And then he says that the youngest is Mahasaraswati. क्योंकि वो आप पहले नहीं रीच कर सकते. This, attention to detail cannot be reached first in the beginning. अगर हमको लग रहा है कि अटेंशन टू डिटेल शुरू हो गई, इसका मतलब महेश्वरी, महाकाली और Mahalakshmi, they already have started working, those aspects are already in work. So that's why she says, Sri Aurobindo says here that the youngest of the four, she is the most skillful in executive faculty and the nearest to the physical nature. तो जब हम physical perfection की बात करते हैं, वहां पे attention to material details. Maheshwari lays down the large lines of world forces. Mahakali drives their energy and impetus. Mahalakshmi discovers their rhythms and measures. But Mahasaraswati presides over their detail of organization and execution. This is what the example that you were also sharing and what we were talking of the mother, that to each detail, अगर किसी को कॉपी भी इशू होनी है, मदर पहले चेक करेंगे कि आपकी कॉपी के सारे पेजेस यूज हो गए कि नहीं हो गए. Then the copy is issued. So Mahasaraswati presides over their detail of organization and execution, relation of parts, and effective combination of forces, and unfailing exactitude of result and fulfillment. तो मान लो कोई बंदा है जो ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहा है, a structure of office or wherever. So that person should be able to see, अच्छा कौन से दो लोग हैं जो साथ में काम करके बेहतर रिजल्ट ला सकते हैं. So these relation of forces. So that leader has to keep in mind all these nitty-gritties of, relation of parts and effective combination of forces. Unfailing exactitude of result and fulfillment. कि कैसे उसको result तक पहुंचाया जाए, each part being taken care of. So this is what is a vision of a leader, for example. The science and craft and technique of things are Mahasaraswati's province. Always she holds in her nature and can give to those whom she has chosen the intimate and precise knowledge, the subtlety and patience, the accuracy of intuitive mind, and conscious hand and discerning eye of the perfect worker. हाँ, so जिसको चाहिए अपने में ये महासरस्वती aspect, Mother says, Sri Aurobindo says, we receive the accuracy of the intuitive mind, क्योंकि आपको you have to make quick decisions. Quick decisions come only through intuitive guidance. They can't come through logical calculation. कि आपको पता लग गया, अच्छा हाँ ये बंदा suit, put him there, you know, like that. Accuracy of intuitive mind, conscious hand and discerning eye of perfect worker. This power is the strong, the tireless, the careful and efficient builder, organizer, administrator, technician, artisan, and classifier of the words. So wherever we see in some people, you know, what beautiful work they are able to do, whatever, in ourselves we see, everywhere, wherever this is in action we see, it means Mahasaraswati's force is working in us or in others. When she takes up the transformation and new building of the nature, her action is laborious and minute and often seems to our impatience slow and interminable. कि खत्म क्यों नहीं हो रहा, अरे हो तो गया काम बंद क्यों नहीं कर रहे, बस करो, लपेटो, you know, kind of देख लिया, 4 बार प्रूफ रीड कर लिया. So to our impatience it seems slow and interminable, but it is persistent, integral and flawless. For the will in her works is scrupulous, unsleeping, indefatigable, leaning over us. She notes and touches every little detail, finds out every minute defect, gap, twist of incompleteness, considers and weighs accurately all that has been done and all that remains still to be done hereafter. So this is how good systems, good offices, that's how they, if they are able to do some good work, it means Mahasaraswati's force is working through it. You know, precision to detail, accuracy in little details. Nothing is too small or apparently trivial for her attention. Nothing, however, impalpable or disguised or latent can escape her. Molding and remolding, she labors each part till it has attained its true form, is put in its exact place in the whole and fulfills its precise purpose. In her constant and diligent arrangement and rearrangement of things, her eye is on all needs at once and the way to meet them, and her intuition knows what is to be chosen and what rejected, and successfully determines the right instrument, the right time, the right conditions, and the right process. Carelessness and negligence and indolence she abhors. All scammed and hasty and shuffling work, all clumsiness and misfire, all false adaptation and misuse of instrument and faculties, and leaving of things undone or half done, is offensive and foreign to her temper. So if we want to shoo away mother's force of Saraswati, Mahasaraswati, then we do things clumsily, half-heartedly. It means we tell her to go, and she can't stand that. That's what he says. When her work is finished, nothing has been forgotten, no part has been misplaced or omitted or left in a faulty condition. All is solid, accurate, complete, admirable. Nothing short of a perfection satisfies her, and she is ready to face an eternity of toil if that is needed for the fullness of her creation. So this is, I think, a lifetime of a work that we can give to ourselves, that nothing is trivial in our life. एक एक चीज हम जो कर रहे हैं, अगर, and we all know that we all can improve so much in so many aspects of our life. कितनी चीजें हैं, हम उनको कहते हैं कि अच्छा इसको क्या देखना हो तो गया. So whatever we do, if we can remember mother's force of Mahasaraswati, power of Mahasaraswati, and try to do it with attention, since everything is divine. So that's exactly what we were reading in the conclusion of verse 8. That the profounder view we have, we realize that each and every aspect of creation is important. So our conduct, our behavior, the words that we are speaking, the thoughts that we are having, each aspect is important. It has a value. Yeah,
I
anything
think,
here?
in this such a like the concept that we have, especially in India, we have this concept of chalta hai, jugaad, and that's something, it's so detrimental because like you're so much surrounded by it that you don't realize you can't cultivate that with this attention to detail, because it's just by hook and crook, you just do it because you have to do it. There's not no planning, the invocation of beauty and precision and everything. So that was something I struggle a lot, because it's like unlearning what you have learned unconsciously or even consciously, and then training your mind to, go into a different direction.
And yet we see that it's not like black and white. There are, grays. And for example, I've seen ladies making columns in Pondicherry, South India, very common. And they do it so intricately and beautifully, and they do it regularly at their time, whatever time they have, they know that it has to be done. So there you see, it's not like, but if you take an overall perspective, then we see that, of course, there are many loopholes, and that chalta hai thing comes into picture. But if we look into details, then we will see that no, it's not just black and white. There are places of perfection, and people have their own disciplines also, along with all the chaos. Yeah. Yeah, anyone?
Yes, I also, I mean, not chalta hai, but jugaad, I feel, there are two sides to that. Like there is a regeneration of aspect in it, which is very unique to the Indian soul, which is basically also like the aspect of spontaneity and the seed of innovation in many ways. Like, I mean, this is just my observation and my experience. It is like the seed of innovation in many ways. Uh, like they say, necessity is the mother of invention. It is something like that. Like,
Very true.
it
Very
has
true.
that aspect of it as
To,
well, and that really works in India. Like with the Indian mind,
yes.
it kind of has that seed of innovation in that. Like, um,
Chetna,
yeah, I mean,
the one very good example for what you are sharing is, if we have seen Indian roads, specifically in Gurgaon and Delhi, we see they have something, a vehicle, it's called Jugaad. Have you seen that, Chetna? Jugaad. Uska naam Jugaad hai. Have you seen it?
acha,
No?
describe more, then I
So,
will maybe
yeah,
remember.
it's not just like one type of thing, but what I'm sharing is that necessity is the mother of invention, और चलता है कि अच्छा ये भी चला लेंगे. And you are so right when you say that it actually is it's seed of innovation, because for example, एक मोटरसाइकिल खराब हो गई, एक रिक्शा खराब हो गया, ठीक है, एक कार खराब हो गई. अब तीन चीजें हैं जो कबाड़ी वाले के पास पड़ी हुई हैं, लेकिन मोटरसाइकिल पूरी खराब नहीं है, कार भी पूरी खराब नहीं है, और रिक्शा भी पूरा खराब नहीं है. उसके कुछ कुछ पार्ट्स हैं जो काम करते हैं. तो क्योंकि हम ये है कि हम चला लेंगे, काम चला लेंगे, तो हम क्या करते हैं, आप देखते हो, मतलब आई सी इट सो मेनी टाइम्स इन गुड़गांव, इट इज वेरी कॉमन. A little bit of motorcycle, a little bit of rickshaw, and a little bit of seat from a car or something, and they have made a proper vehicle which runs, actually the motor engine is working, and this they call jugaad.
Oh, wow.
Haven't you
Wow.
seen it?
maybe I haven't.
It's very common. These kind of things are very
हाँ,
common, है ना. So what people do is they use it as a cart, like वो है ना कुछ ठेला जैसे कुछ सामान इकट्ठा खूब सारा लेके जाना है, so they use it as a cart. So it's very very common, commonly seen here, and it's beautiful because you are making use of everything. मोटरसाइकिल का अगर एक टायर भी ठीक है तो वो एक टायर को आगे लगा देंगे, पीछे रिक्शे के दो लगे हुए हैं, है ना. एंड इवन कार की सीट्स वगैरह जो हैं वो सारी मतलब दे मेक यूज ऑफ एवरीथिंग. सो very true. I just wanted to elaborate that what you were sharing, it has a very beautiful point.
yes, I agree. I mean, like, like maybe chalta hai, the term that people use normally these days is like for mediocrity, but I don't mean that. Like jugaad in India, like I remember because I grew up on a farm. तो अब फार्म पे क्या है कि मार्केट पास में नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, जो घर पे है तुम्हें उसी से करना है. तो उसमें इनोवेशन आ जाता है कि अब यही है, इसमें से क्या कर सकते हैं. तो वो सीड इंडियन माइंड में है, मैंने देखा है. सब लोग को मतलब वो हार नहीं मानते और वो हर चीज का बेस्ट निकालना, रिसाइकल, ये सब चीजें है. और मैंने ये भी नोटिस किया है कि जैसे ये चीजें ना, जो वेस्टर्न माइंड है जो कि बहुत स्ट्रक्चर से चलता है, उसको नहीं समझ में आता है. क्योंकि ये जुगाड़ का एक्चुअली सीड, अगर वो रीजेनरेशन पॉजिटिव साइड पे देखे तो इसका सीड इंट्यूटिव माइंड में, वो इंट्यूटिव माइंड से उसका उसका वो निकलता है. तो या लाइक आई फाइंड इट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. And I've noticed with me also, like till I have options, तो मेरा वो intuitive mind work ही नहीं करता है. जब सच में options खत्म हो जाते हैं ना, तब पता नहीं कहाँ से solution निकलते हैं. और मैं जितना मर्जी कोशिश कर लूं, जब 4 ऑप्शन है ना, जितना मर्जी मैं तब अपने माइंड को बोल दूं कि नहीं, इंट्यूटिव माइंड से कोई और सोल्यूशन निकालो, नहीं निकलेगा. जब सच में ऑप्शंस खत्म हो जाते हैं, ऐसे ऐसे सॉल्यूशन निकलते हैं कि मुझे भी नहीं पता कि मतलब कहाँ से आ रहे हैं.
Very
और
true.
लगता है कि कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, ये तो
Very
ये
true.
तो इतने सारे ऑप्शन है.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you one question in कि so for Mahasaraswati, the force, if we want to invite her and we want to work with her, then how can we invoke her and make sure that we are being receptive and responsive in receiving?
I think the first would be, and the best would be to read this book by Sri Aurobindo, The Mother, so that you can yourself see how it works. And secondly, when you have the aspiration to invoke one of these aspects of the mother, and if you want to do that, just that aspiration, if it is continuous and persistent, actually it would work. And what, like, Nandini was sharing, that like as if mother is showing me, acha yahan pe correct karo, wahan pe correct karo. So now that you are invoking mother's, Mahasaraswati's aspect, consciously, then you yourself will be shown places where you can actually make yourself better, है ना. इनवर्डली आपको दिखता रहेगा कि अच्छा, आपको खुद ही दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा, अच्छा यहाँ पे कुछ रह गया, है ना, यहाँ पे आई कुड डू सम बेटर. So first of all, I think it would be right directly to read Sri Aurobindo's words would be the best. Nothing can beat that. So read this book, The Mother by Sri Aurobindo. It's a very small little book and beautiful, really very crisp and precise. One loves to read it again and again. And then keep invoking this aspect of perfection in work of Mahasaraswati's aspect, and slowly you will be shown. It is not possible that if you don't have a persistent aspiration, you will not be shown. है ना, अपने आप ही आपको दिखना शुरू हो जाएगा कि कहाँ कहाँ मैं और कर सकती हूँ. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, anyone else more at this point before we go to verse 9? So let's just maybe start it a little bit, and then we can only take a little bit, not much. Too much we won't take. We have only around 10-15 minutes. Nowadays I prefer that if we have little chunks, that are enough. Too much at once is not really good. Nothing goes in then. So verse 9 is recognizing the truth of things. And if anyone would like to read, maybe we can read the first page along with the verse.
I'll read.
Yeah.
Like dew on grass, the delights of the three worlds, by their very nature, evaporate in an instant. To strive for the supreme level of liberation, which never changes, is the practice of a Bodhisattva. This verse, like verse 4, is about impermanence. Dew on grass lasts for such a short time. The sun rises and it is gone. Likewise, 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 all things that we imagine will give us pleasure and delight are ephemeral. Practically speaking, even the most delicious meal in the world is going to end. Then what? We probably get indigestion. Any pleasure that we can think of is short-lived and often hardly worth all the trouble that we went through to get it. Dilgo Khentense Rinpoche explains it in this way. All those illusionary goals and ambitions, even if you could ever manage to follow them through and bring them to some kind of conclusion, would that lead to a lasting result? You will recognize that there is nothing permanent in any of them. You might be the heir of a throne, but it is obvious that no king has ever maintained his power indefinitely. If nothing else, death will snatch it away. You might be the most formidable general, but you will never subdue all of your country's enemies, no matter how many wars you wage. You might have tremendous power, influence, fame, and wealth, but it is all meaningless and hollow.
Yeah, thank you. So I think this much we can take for reflections. Yeah, anything anyone wants to share? So some of us may, when we read this, that whatever delight we are having, if we are enjoying good food, good company, good relationship, good money or comfort, the moment we are seeing it as a, like, okay, it's happening, and we look at it and we say that, oh, this is fleeting. It is today there, tomorrow it may not be there. Some of us may actually think of it as how negative way of looking at life. कि ऐसे क्यों देखें हम कि आज है कल नहीं है, अरे करने दो enjoy जो कर रहे हैं अभी. But I think there is a point here, and the point is कि हमारा जो ordinary मन है वो बहुत चिपचिपा है, it's very sticky. And when something good is happening, the mind just goes back to that again and again and wants to repeat it for pleasure and fun. So, and that is how addictions develop. That is how we are addicted to relationships, we are addicted to Netflix, we are addicted to whatever, we may think of. We can be addicted to anything. So when we are enjoying something very beautiful, it may be actually a very beautiful moment in your life that you are enjoying. And in that very moment, if you can remind yourself that I know that this is fleeting, this is going to go, this won't last. I think to me, it appears in my personal experience that it gives me a very solid grounding in myself, that I don't become outwardly dependent on that fleeting thing. And it also brings a lot of gratitude, that now that it is there, let me enjoy it with gratitude. and I know it won't last. So I have no expectation for it to last. हमारी suffering ही तभी आती है जब हम expect करते हैं चीजों को that they last forever. Like why do we usually have troubles in relationships? Because जो पहले था वो अब नहीं है. The honeymoon period is gone. It did not last. So when you don't have expectation from those outer world, which is actually fleeting and like dew on grass, it is there today, it is not there tomorrow. तो फिर आपको फिर disappointment भी नहीं होती है. When it is there, you can enjoy it. When it is not there, then also you are okay. So this is what we have to cultivate in ourselves. And this is what Kabir means when he says, सुख में सुमिरन ना किया. क्योंकि हम सुख में क्या करते हैं, भूल जाते हैं. हम सुख में ग्राउंडिंग नहीं लेते क्योंकि हमको लगता है अरे यार एंजॉय करने दे, ऐसे क्या ये फिलोसॉफिकल बातें कर रहा है ना. सो व्हेन वी बिगिन टू टू मच इंडल्ज इनटू दीस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच आर वेरी ब्यूटीफुल इवन, and we lose our grounding from within, and when that thing is gone, it brings a lot of disappointment and suffering. Why to bring ourselves into that situation again and again with where we torment ourselves, becoming dependent on outer appearances? So that's why I feel that to remind ourselves of that grounding within while we are enjoying something beautiful. कुछ भी सुंदर हो रहा है आपके जीवन में जिसके लिए आप बहुत you are feeling very lucky. In that very moment, if I can remind that I know this is not going to last. It may appear a negative bent of mind, but actually it is very positive and grounding. So that is what is reflected in this verse. To not place our ground on fleeting appearances. Like dew on grass, the delights of the three worlds by their very nature evaporate in an instant. All of us have experiences, some things in our life that were so beautiful. और अब वो नहीं है. कहाँ है वो, है ना. और अभी कुछ है जो सुंदर है, वो बाद में नहीं रहेगा, कुछ और होगा बाद में, है ना. सो टू स्ट्राइव फॉर द सुप्रीम लेवल ऑफ लिबरेशन. सो व्हेन आई एम गेनिंग माय ग्राउंड विद इन माई सेल्फ, irrespective of outer situations, then I am liberated from the outer appearances. Then they are not my ground. I am not basing myself there. So to strive for the supreme level of liberation, which never changes, this awareness within, the consciousness within, it never changes. अच्छा समय भी इसने देखा है, बुरा समय भी देखा है ना. टर्मोइल भी देखा है, क्लैरिटी भी देखी है, बट वो देखना हमेशा बना हुआ है. That something in us which is always looking, it's always conscious of whatever is going on, that is forever there. जब हम सोते हैं हमें पता होता है कि सोए हैं, तो अवेयरनेस थी, एक कॉन्शियसनेस बरकरार थी. It did not sleep. The consciousness did not sleep because who knew that I had a good sleep? Consciousness. So that level of liberation which never changes, to know ourselves as that is what we call self-realization. That which never changes is the practice of a Bodhisattva. So to strive for that kind of a realization in ourselves, that I am this consciousness which is seeing the drama of my life, to again and again and again ground myself there, is the practice. Yeah, any reflections or thoughts here? Anyone? Okay. So yes, I think more we would not take today. This much is enough for rumination and practice. What we did earlier, the aspect of Mahasaraswati, attention to details in every aspect of our life, and this, that anything that happens in my life is fleeting, not permanent, and knowing that it is fleeting. Whether it is giving me pain, that is also fleeting, and that's a very good thing. That pain is also not going to last because it's fleeting. So dark cloud has come, it will go away. And if a white cloud has come, that will also go away. But all that remains forever is the blue sky behind the white and the dark cloud. That is not going away because that is what gives space for the clouds to be. So again and again, knowing ourselves as that consciousness or awareness, we solidify our stance as that. That's the practice. Yeah, so if there are any last comments we can take, and if not, we can end with a minute of prayer. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's take a moment of silence then to just share and dedicate all the merit that we may have accumulated. May all the sentient beings near and far, may we have our hearts full, content, and may we have lots of joy and lots of progress in our lives. And may each one of us feel empowered to walk on the path. Thank you. Thank you for joining in, everyone. Okay, bye-bye.